What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this wonderful evening. Today is Thursday, December 29th. It's 5:57 p.m. and you're like, Steve, why are you so early? Well, that's because we have breaking news. The man, the myth, the legend of his own mind, Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan have been arrested in Romania. Now, you may be curious as to what was he arrested for? And we'll go into all that stuff, based on what we're able to find. This is just breaking within the last hour. And you may be saying, Steve, why do we care? You always talk about politics. And I'm taking a break from doing that, at least for tonight, because I think this is pretty freaking weird. And especially with the timing of everything and the fact that, so long story short, if you're unfamiliar with who Andrew Tate is, outside of just being a moron, he's an idiot. The Daily Mail actually did a really good breakdown of it. And I'll show that right now. So and they call him a toxic influencer. Andrew Tate is arrested in human trafficking raid at his luxury villa in Romania after a pizza box. See, and they've updated this title since then because the pizza box thing is new. So anyway, Andrew Tate has been arrested in Romania after police raided his luxury home in connection with the human trafficking investigation. The prolific social media personality, 36, had his villa searched by police on Thursday, according to a Romanian news outlet. The self-described misogynist, Andrew, who was detained along with his brother Tristan, will face questioning by the country's organized crime and terrorism team. It is believed that the online spat with Greta Thunberg, the little climate talking head, was the reason he got arrested after he posted alongside a Romanian pizza box, which may have inadvertently revealed his location to authorities. A spokesperson for Tate said, "We cannot provide any details at the moment regarding the alleged reports that they have been detained. However, Andrew and Tristan Tate have the utmost respect for Romanian authorities and will always assist in any way they can." Now, Chicago-born Tate I didn't know he was from Chicago. He's been branded the king of toxic masculinity for his online diatribes against women, which have gained him notoriety and millions of followers in the last year. And so this is a picture of the raid. And here's the pizza box from his video. And here is more pictures of the raid. And we'll go into that. Anyway, Andrew Tate's Eastern European home was also raided in April of this year as part of a human trafficking investigation. He had previously boasted to his followers that 40% of the reason he moved to Romania was because police were less likely to pursue any sexual assault allegations against him. In a press release on Thursday, DICOT, Romania's police crime and investigation unit, said they had raided 5 homes after obtaining search warrants. The warrants were issued in connection to an ongoing investigation into an organized criminal group, international human trafficking, and rape. Victims were recruited by 2 British citizens who were later transported and housed in buildings in Liffoff County, police said. They did not name the suspects. The women were then subject to physical violence and mental coercion and were sexually exploited by group members by forcing them to perform pornographic demonstrations, pornographic for the purpose of producing and disseminating through social media platforms. Police say a total of 6 victims have so far come forward, claiming they were sexually exploited by the organized criminal group. Cops did not name the men whose homes were raided in Romania. They said that 4 men were taken in for questioning on Thursday, and police ordered the suspects to be detained for a period of 24 hours. Born in Chicago, Illinois, but brought up in Luton, England, Tate has garnered a dubious reputation over his various business activities. Together with his brother Tristan, he allegedly set up a webcam business in Romania, which used young models in which young models told sob stories to unsuspected male viewers. Weird. Despite previously saying that the site was a total scam, Tate claims to have made millions from it. Just yesterday, Tate found himself in a hot water after getting into a Twitter spat with eco-activist crazy lady Greta Thunberg. He called her out and shared a photo of himself filling up his Bugatti supercar, asking her to send him her email address so he could send detail about the enormous emissions from his gas-guzzling performance car. And this dude is like so dumb. Anyway, Tate tweeted on Tuesday, "Hello, Greta Thunberg. I have 33 cars. My Bugatti has a W16 8.0 quad turbo. My two Ferrari 812 Competizones have a 6.5 liter V12s. This is just the start. Please provide your email address so I could send a complete list of my car collection and its enormous emissions." Greta Thunberg did reply, and Daily Mail is calling it a brutal comeback, in a tweet to her 4.9 million followers yesterday saying, "Yes, please do enlighten me. Email me at smallbleepenergy@getalife.com. See, I censored it for you. That's very courteous of me. Tate first came to prominence when he appeared on Big Brother in 2016, but was removed from the program after a video surfaced online which appeared to show him attacking a woman with a belt, a clip he claimed had been edited. Since then, he has gained further notoriety for a string of comments about women, including suggesting that they bear some responsibility if they are assaulted, an incident which led him to being banned on Twitter. Now, what's interesting about this whole thing is, for one, he said a lot of controversial stuff. And I looked into this old, when they raided his home back in April of this year, that was because of allegations of kidnapping made by two American women. And the reason why they weren't arrested, the reason why they weren't detained or anything, I think they were questioned and voluntarily submitted to questioning, is because their facility has, or their compound or whatever, has security cameras all over it. So based on the reporting I was able to find, it appears that they turned over all of their video footage to the police back in April, and they were able to see that these women were definitely not being held, without their consent. For example, they would leave with other women and go shopping and do all that stuff. Delivery people would come and the girls would go out through open gates and meet them, from what I was able to see. Now, I'm not saying that they don't have anything else to do with this scummy stuff. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they did. But I don't know anything. I just think this is a newsworthy story because just yesterday he got into a Twitter spat with Greta Thunberg, and today he's raided by organized crime and international terror, like SWAT teams. Like, you can't even make this stuff up. Like, if you want to say, like, isn't Greta Thunberg like a WEF, like, or W whatever, World Economic Forum, like, spokesperson now? I think that's the newest thing that just came out. So that's why she's garnished national attention, even though she's like she's the one that stood up and said, when she was like 10, that, we're killing the ozone, all that stuff. Remember why he decided to tweet her? I have no idea. It wouldn't surprise me if this was some big coordinated publicity stunt. But however, there has been actual arrest footage. And I know that some of the videos that were released earlier were put into question. I don't know if you could actually put this next clip I'm going to show you into question, because this video clearly shows Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan Tate in handcuffs being led out of what I believe is the police station and being brought into police cars. It also shows several women that appear to also be handcuffed in the front. Is that just like what they do in foreign countries? So here's one of the women that's being arrested. She appears to be handcuffed. This other lady, I can't tell if she's being handcuffed. And then they're shoving, Tristan Tate in the vehicle. There was a really bad screen grab of local news there that was reporting this originally, and it's since then it's gone crazy, and everybody's talking about it, and a lot of people. I even had people on my thread that were like, "Oh, that's an old video," and it doesn't appear it was because they're wearing the same clothing. Other people are saying that this is all made up and that these people weren't really arrested, blah blah blah. Which I don't know how you can make that argument now. Someone said, "What crime did he commit?" I don't understand, sadly. So according to the Daily Mail, he was arrested, or this investigation, it says victims were recruited by 2 British citizens who were later transported and housed in buildings in the county where they live, I guess. They did not name the suspects. This according to the Daily Mail. They're the ones that have a police source that is telling them this. The women were subjected to physical violence and mental coercion and were sexually exploited by a group members, forcing them to perform pornographic demonstrations, pornographic for the purpose of producing and disseminating through social media platforms. Police say a total of 6 victims so far have come forward, claiming that they were sexually exploited by the organized criminal group. So I have no idea whether, I'm not here to say whether it's true or not. You want my opinion? Oh yeah, this shit's true as shit. Like, these dudes were scummy. From an outside looking in perspective, that's why I never really covered them, because they were shady people anyway. You know what I mean? Anything like, it's funny because a lot of people will say like, oh, well, Andrew Tate makes some good points. Okay, so does any one of the worst people in our history. That was not a good sentence, but you know what I'm saying. You have to look at the whole picture, right? And the guy is just not a good person. Based on the snippets that I've heard, he makes a lot of valid points, and he forecasted his own arrest. I mean, how many people can do that if you're innocent, right? Because when he was kicked off Twitter earlier in the month for whatever he was kicked off of Twitter for, and then he's already been nuked I believe on Instagram and all that, but he went viral in what was a coordinated, like he said, according to podcasts that he was on. I watched the Nelk Boys podcast a couple of months back where they went to Romania or Dubai or wherever the hell they were, and they actually did a interview with Andrew Tate. And I thought the interview was actually decent. It was a good interview. And they were sitting there talking about why he got taken off of social media, and how even though he's been banned from all these platforms, he has a huge presence on social media. And it's by like other people sharing his content. It's by other people doing all these things. And there's a lot of questions about how he runs this like academy on what it's like to be a man, and people pay like $1,500 to get in there. It reminds me a lot of what's the guy, Jack or whatever, that the Luminal Order. It reminds me a lot of that kind of freaking stuff. Jack, the guy that used to be on Timcast all the time, and then flipped out on Slightly Offensive with no, We Are There, We Are Here, We Are There. What's his name? Jack something. It wasn't Jack Dorsey. It was Jack. Oh God, I even follow him on Twitter. He won't come on my show either. I tried. He said he would, but then he looked me up and then realized I'm going to ask him questions. John Smith said, regardless, he could beat you to death in seconds. Yeah, because he's also, and that's one thing I forgot to tell you about Andrew Tate. The dude's like a quadruple kickboxing champion of the world, like a world champion kickboxer too. So yes, he could beat me to death in a second, unless I could get my hands on him. But no, it's not Jack something else. It's Jack Murphy. There you go. Someone said it in the chat. Jack Murphy. He runs something very similar, and I see his posts all the time, and it's just weird. I don't like a person that'll curse down to a woman, like be like F you to a woman. I just think you're less than. And he did that. So I don't have any respect. Plus, I just don't get into paying $multi-hundred a month to learn how to be a man, because you should kind of do it. Or like, yeah, it's all too Liver King-y for me. You know what I mean? Where it's just, you can tell that someone's bullshitting and just getting membership money, and that's how they're making a living. But whatever. Nobody cares really. But it's kind of interesting. We're gonna have to wait and see what transpires with this whole thing. I am slightly curious to see if there is. We already know that the police have said that the reason they were able to find, like, here's the thing. They've been building this case for months, and they've had a case against him for 9 months, according to reports that I've seen online, against Andrew Tate and Tristan. They've had a case built for 9 months, but they were waiting for the right time to go after Tate. Because they're saying that they never knew when he was actually in Romania because he travels so much. And it was their time to do this because of his response video to Greta Thunberg yesterday. He posted a video where it was stupid. He's smoking a cigar in a robe in like some room, and he had a pizza box next to him. And apparently that's how they were able to tell he was actually there in Romania, because that pizza place is closed, and they were able to figure out where he was, apparently, which doesn't make any damn sense, because they raided the same house in April knowing that it was them, and they communicated. And you're telling me that Romania doesn't have some sort of, that people can just get in and get out of the country without being known? It doesn't make any sense. Like that part of the story doesn't make a lot of sense. But I don't know. Someone said, I think he's innocent. I have no idea. You know, based on his caliber of person, I could say, nah, he's probably guilty. You know what I mean? Based on the caliber of person that I've seen and how he's talked to. Because I don't know if it was his podcast or somebody else's, but it would be essentially be him and like 10 women, and he would just sit and shit on all of them. Like, you know, not literally, you know, crap on them, but he would just like, you know, he would be like, what do you aspire to be as an adult? What do you look for in a man? And then when they would say something, he would just, and just go off on a tangent, because I don't know. He believes that women are less than, or something like that. Someone said he flies private. How could you trace? Because you can't fly into a country, or maybe you can in Romania, but I know a private airline, you can't, like a citizen from another country that may be stupid rich can't just fly and land in the United States and walk around free. Well, yes, they can. But the key to that is you got to land in Mexico and cross through the open borders. That's how you can get here into the United States without having to check in with Customs and Border Patrol. But like a rich dude that's flying from Romania to the United States and lands here in the United States, he's still got to check in with Customs. He still has to get some sort of permit to be here, you know, green card. Well, not a green card, but, you know, a travel permit, whatever the hell they're called. A visa, that's what it is. You know what I mean? But someone said, I think if they were to charge him with anything based on his reputation, those would be charges I'd choose. It's more believable. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because he does have, and here's the thing. Do you know how many people want to see this guy like gone, like eradicated from the face of the earth? And again, he's forecasted this. He's forecasted it. Watch this video. I don't know if my sound's on, but which it's not going to work if the sound's not. Where is this video? Right here. Let me do a test real quick, because I don't have my headphones. I'll just see it right here. No, it's not. Okay. Let me test it now.
Giving me
there. Okay. I don't have my sound, my headphones. Well, whatever. Oh God. Oh. I moved my desk again, so everything's kind of in disarray. But so here's a video, and this is right after he got banned on Twitter. So what do you guys think about this?
Quite a few warnings, and I'm now at the point where I actually truly believe they're going to try and kill me. I understand that you get 3 strikes in this game. Strike 1 is they try and shut you up and discredit you, which I've just been through. Strike 2 is they try and put you in jail for no reason, and strike 3 is they kill you.
So, I mean, like if you believe in conspiracies and all that, like he apparently does. That's why, like, I was kind of like, maybe this is all orchestrated. You know what I mean? Because he's like, strike 1 is they try to cancel you, which is what they did. Strike 2 is they put you in jail, and strike 3 is they kill you. You know, and he says that's just from speaking out and going against the norms and things like that. I don't know whether any of that's true, but it's weird that so many, and people forecast this shit all the time. You know what I mean? And the Greta Thunberg thing is just too weird, right? He goes after this woman, or this girl, whatever woman. She's 19 or 20 years old now. He goes after her in this weird mess of stuff. And just a day later, less than 24 hours later. Because, like, listen, I listen to podcasts all day long, right? And some of what I do is listening to liberal podcasts. And I was listening to some of these liberal podcasters today that were and they were going off. And they're like, oh, Greta Thunberg roasted him, saying small d energy and blah, blah, blah. And she roasted him. It was amazing and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, holy cow, because it was either that or Trump. That's pretty much all they talked about today. Was either on the 2 different shows I listened to, they either talked about Trump and how Trump is bad, even though he hasn't been in the news recently, or they were talking about this story. Some of them were talking about the incoming GOP politician from Long Island that lied about his whole life, essentially, and that is coming in. And they're saying, like, for the lefties, that's a win. You know, with the Santos guy, I think his name is. He won the GOP race for Long Island, one of the districts in Long Island. And he lied about his whole life, essentially, from everything from school to work to job to money to religion to homosexuality is even in question, even though he says he's a happily married gay man. They're calling BS on that as well, saying he was married for years and years and was in a relationship recently. But yeah, it's someone said he was swatted. Again, he wasn't swatted. He wasn't swatted. We already know that. And I know a lot of people are trying to say that, but that doesn't make any sense because you don't have this occur if you swatted. You could say, like, the allegations are false, but this doesn't happen when you're swatted, by the way. Coming out of a police precinct, handcuffed, with your brother behind you. That doesn't happen if you're swatted. I know a lot of people want to say he's swatted because it's easier, especially if you follow the guy. It's a lot easier just to say that because you don't really have any understanding of what is going on. But my personal belief is that they have charges and they're going to make them stick. Even if there's no there, they're going to insert there. And they're going to charge him with whatever they can charge him with. And they're going, because listen, he is someone that has gone against the grain in virtually every single aspect of society. You know what I mean? He has, just from the little bit I've watched. But yeah, wouldn't it be interesting if this was all just some big publicity stunt? Like he coerced the girls to go in and make all these false allegations just so he can get this photo stunt. And then all the girls recant, said that he paid him like 10 grand each to go lie. That, I mean, those would be much, much smaller, charges, but who really knows? What I was able to figure out is that this is all connected to the first girl, or it was a pair, or at least one American girl from April of this year that said she was kidnapped and held against her will at his compound, to which they're like, here's video that disproves that, and there's screenshots. You can actually find the articles where they were talking about it. And they literally provided the media and everybody with screenshots of like them getting a delivery. And the girl that said she was being held against her will was going out and picking up the packages. She said she was being held against her will, and she was walking and going shopping in the town with other people, other girls, So I don't know. The whole thing is absolutely crazy to me, but it's funny because it's still kind of newsworthy as well, which is perplexing that it is newsworthy. It's newsworthy from a variety of perspectives. One, the guy is a celebrity, and I don't know if anyone actually knows why. I think just being controversial is why he's a celebrity. I think going out there and being outlandish and saying all those stupid things. It's like this young kid that's floating around on social media now. He's like some 15-year-old kid. He has a fake accent. He's doing the same kind of shit that Andrew Tate has done, and he's going viral all over the place, and it's all fake. It's all made up, and that's why I think a lot of this, the Bugatti stuff, like I saw one podcast, again, the liberal podcast that I was listening to earlier today, and I'll tell you, it's hard, to do that for opposition research. What I could do is literally just take because they all talk about the same crap. I could just literally write down their show and just do another show countering everything they said, and people would be more informed. And especially if I like rebuttal to Damage Report or rebuttal for this other bonehead that I saw. Because at first I thought it was going to be interesting because it was about, it's like what the title of that video was, like Andrew Tate gets bodied by Greta Thunberg or whatever, or something like that. And I was like, what is this stuff? Because I was traveling yesterday. I was tired as hell. That's why I didn't do a live stream. But so I saw some of the stuff going on with Tate, but I didn't really pay attention to it because, it's stupid. You know what I mean? I don't understand why it's such a big thing, why he's such a big thing. But make no mistake, the sex trafficking allegations are huge. And if they do come out to be truthful, then I hope he goes to jail for the rest of his life. I hope Romania has a death penalty and they make it nice and quick and painful. You know what I mean? Or slow and painful. because that's the case that, with any sex offender, if a jury of your peers, would they be considered his peers if they're Romanian citizens? Or would he be even charged in Romania, or would he be charged? What happens with that when you have international smuggling rings, right? And they're taking girls.
Did you ever consider sit-down podcasts? Like a Joe Rogan format? I'll be your first guest. No ego intended. Amisha Stande MIT dear open mouth smile.
I miss that, the super chat. I don't even know where that came from, because I didn't get one today. So I just checked over there and I didn't even get a super chat. So I'm not quite sure where that came. But yeah, it's a very perplexing thing. You may saw, if you're watching on YouTube, YouTube chats are always going to be member only. I will never open them up to the public again. And I'm not going live all the time on YouTube. This is a newsworthy thing, and that's why I'm going live on YouTube. But for the most part, we try to take our views elsewhere because of all the issues with YouTube. But yeah, this whole thing is relatively interesting to me. I've been trying to get out of, especially today, I've been trying to get out of talking about or even listening to anything that's going on with the borders, because it's the same freaking talking points. The left is talking about Trump and the right is talking about CRT. They're talking about this, they're talking about that. And it's the same talking points. And I think everyone has their priorities screwed up, including the people on the right. Everybody has their priorities screwed up. Everyone's talking about, we got to teacher CRT stuff, blah, 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 blah. Fox News making a huge deal that President Biden's on vacation and the islands or something like that's going to impact. Like, they're going to be able to apply any sort of political pressure, which is going to cause Joe Biden to actually do his job for the first time in 2 years. It's not going to happen. You got Pete Buttigieg coming out and talking about, how he's going to investigate American Airlines or Southwest Airlines or whatever for their massive 10,000 plus canceling. But every single supply chain crisis that we've had so far, think about this. Every single supply chain crisis we've had so far, the Secretary of the Department of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, was on vacation. First one, he was on maternity leave because they adopted some babies, and him and his husband adopted some babies. And that was with the supply chain crisis where all the containers were sitting at the ports in California. Remember that? And he was gone. He was absent. And they had nothing. They had no policy, nothing in place. And then he was on vacation again when the railroad strike was just, coming to fruition. And that's whenever there's a crisis, our leaders take off. Eric Adams was in some other place, while New York was getting pummeled. I believe Kathy Hochul stayed there, which is interesting. But now 30 plus people have died in New York State alone, and our president of the United States takes off. And they talk about it like ever, we're supposed to be surprised. Like, oh my God, can you believe he took off? The guy barely could talk, let alone put on a diaper every day. He probably has to have extra hands for that too. So I realized I just truly got to the point where I don't want to talk about politics anymore. And I think I may do it in the way that I just did, where I just quickly run over everything and just move on to something else. So I'm going to evolve the show and the way I do things and try to get more into just some of the other stuff I do. Because I'll be honest, it sucks to talk about politics all the time. Like, for example, a big part of the day today on this computer, I was watching what's going on the southern border. Now, I know if you watch Fox News, El Paso, they're putting containers down, blah, blah, blah. Arizona's got to remove the containers because they're, being sued by the Biden administration. And, they're putting containers down in El Paso to block all these illegal migrants. I literally watched on video today, the Border Patrol are opening the borders. And all of you can watch it if you want. You can all go and look up First Responder Media or Oreo Express. My suggestion is that you mute it, because both of those people are incredibly dumb and annoying to listen to. But if you mute it, they are capturing what is truly going on at their southern border. What in the shit, like Fox News isn't there doing what they're doing. They're literally sitting there and watching Border Patrol open the gate, load everybody into vans, and drive into the United States. It is amazing. It is amazing. But That would be the biggest thing to me. Like if I was going to lead off, like say I was a head of programming for Fox News or CNN, we'd be talking about the border. And you can still put your own political spin on it. CNN could blame the shit that's going on at the border under the Trump administration. They already do. You could do all say Title 42 was placed under Trump and blah blah blah. The story is that Title 42 we should have never did Title 42 anyway. You know what I mean? We should have never had to enact Title 42 to expel people under the guise of COVID that were here seeking asylum. And to be honest, we wouldn't need to. We didn't have to do Title 42 in 2019 or 2018. No, and we still had lower crossings than we do now. Even with Title 42 now, you're having 178,000 people cross in the last 90 days in El Paso sector alone. That's crazy. That's people coming into our country. And everybody should care whether you're on the left or the right. Everybody should care about this because how are we going to support them? Make no mistake, the responsibility to support them falls on the backs of you. How are we going to support them? Everybody that's crossing the southern border. Everyone can say, oh, we need to shut it down, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't matter. Because what about the 2+ million that already crossed in this year that aren't allowed to work? They don't have legal documents to be eligible to work. Could they apply for it while they're waiting for asylum? Sure. But what about, and we're not even talking about the gotaways, the known gotaways, the people that were here or that crossed in the border and never were processed by Border Patrol, the people that didn't want to be caught. We're not even talking about them. We're talking about the 2.2 or 2.4, I forgot what the number was, illegal migrants that crossed into the United States by committing a crime, entered in the United States. The United States then said, okay, we will give you an immigration hearing in 60 days. We hope you show up to check in, and released out on the city streets. They either go and live with relatives if they have them. They either go, if they're children, they're oftentimes, as Project Veritas has shown, by whistleblowers and undercover video, they're sold into trafficking. How are we supposed to take care of those people? I don't have the answer for it. That's a true question. That's a true question. So you would think that would be the biggest story. That would be what every single news outlet would run with all the time. You wouldn't worry about Joe Biden taking a vacation. You wouldn't worry about Eric Adams taking a vacation. You wouldn't worry about Pete Buttigieg taking a vacation. No. What you would worry about is the fact that we have a impending doom in this country in terms of our border not being in the least bit secure at all. But hey, that's just me. And I don't control a huge network like Fox News or CNN, so I can't force them to talk about it. And I don't necessarily just want to, I was thinking about it. This is what happens when I drive for a long time. I think about everything. I think about what I'm gonna talk about on the show. And when I was driving up and down from Jersey yesterday, or day before yesterday and yesterday coming back, I was like, nothing has changed in the past 2 months. Think about how the news cycle went. Everybody's just talking about the same thing. You got CNN, MSNBC that are saying Trump is bad, Trumpism, blah, blah, blah. And then even in the little media, even in the independent news outlets, they're all doing the same thing. Post-millennials pumping out articles all the time. Drag queen story hours, this and that, blah, 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 blah. They're protesting in New York City right now, a drag queen story hour. It's not a drag show for little children. It's a story. Like if you've ever seen and I'm not advocating for them. I think they're wrong in the first place, but it's literally a dude that's dressed up like a princess, okay, that's reading storybooks to kids. It's not where they're dancing or doing stupid seductive stuff like they were doing in Texas this weekend and last weekend and all that. And you got protesters out there. And newsflash, I tweeted this out earlier. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you should. It's my name, Steve Oatley. I tweeted it out earlier because everyone says the Proud Boys are these horrible racist people all the time, right? White supremacists. It's weird because there was one guy at this, that was in opposition to these trans people today in Queens, and he was doing the Nazi symbol over and over. And guess who? Guess who told him to leave? The Proud Boys. Yeah, under the threat of violence. And it was weird because I was watching it and I was really confused because I've been told by mainstream media that the Proud Boys are all this white supremacist group. It's weird. It's weird to me, But I think I just think everything else is is just weird, man. Everything else is just weird. And it's the same stuff. It's the same regurgitation. And make no mistake, it's all incredibly important. The fact that there are all ages drag shows is wrong. It's wrong. And it's not wrong because, well, a dude wants to dress as a woman. I don't give a shit about that. I'm on the record of saying it doesn't, I can't say it doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me. So, who cares? But to dance in front of kids, that doesn't make any sense. Because then you got to think there's nefarious reasons for doing it. To me, it doesn't bother me that if someone is reading a book dressed as like a fucking princess, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. Would I have my kids go there? No, because that's my choice. I'm a dad. You know what I mean? But if they're not doing anything stupid, you know what I mean? Because that's really, have you seen the pictures of drag queen story hours? They're reading normal kids' books. They're dressed as freaking princesses. That's what they are. At least the ones that I've seen on social media. Everyone gets the two confused. Drag queen shows are way different. The children should not be anywhere near that. I'm not going to go down the holy road and say, oh, well, it's an abomination, because I don't care. That's not me. That's something they got to deal with when they try to cross those gates later on. You know what I mean? But I don't know. So many people are hyper full, and I believe it's all by design. I truly do. I was thinking about it, and maybe this is a little conspiracy theory, or a bit conspiracy theory for me. Brian Beer on Facebook, get off my page. Because Brian, delete that comment, or when I'm done, I'll just go and ban you. You've been watching a long time too, but you can't write that shit in my chat. So either just delete it or just don't come back to my page so I don't have to ban you. Okay? You've been watching a long time. It's an incredibly stupid thing because I'm going to get flagged, and that's how I lose my channel, right? Man, it's stupid. I'm not even logged into Facebook. So please delete your comment so I don't have to. See, this is why I don't even like doing streams anymore. I really don't. I really don't. Because here's the thing. When I think about this just for a second, I'm just going to rant and then I'm ending the live stream. And you can all thank Brian. He just ruined it for you. But think about how long I sit here and I talk to you guys, right? Obviously, I'm not like working out. I'm not reading from a script, right? So I'm just coming off the top of my head. Do you hear me being homophobic or saying racist shit or anything? So why is it that I can control myself, but people that are taking the time to type it out in the chat can't? It's so dumb, and it makes me not want to do the show anymore, to be honest. Because you know what happens is that I get labeled as one of you racist scumbags. And so does every one of my other viewers too, which is, it just makes none of this worth it, to be completely honest. Being away from my family and doing all that, none of it worth it. You know what I mean? And it really, really ticks me off. And so what I'm doing now, starting tomorrow, is Facebook is now supporter only as well, because I have no other choice, and I'm not going to lose all my platforms because of what other people are doing. Like if I was saying stupid shit, then that would be, that would be it. But I'm not I'm not doing this stuff anymore. But at any rate, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, Brian, for fucking ruining the show.